All right, and hello, this is John Leonard Harris of Encouragement Consulting Services and Encouragement Unlimited with a program that I'm calling Finding a Job the Right Way. Finding a Job the Right Way. There are many people looking for employment of various kinds, and this particular program, I'll take you through our PowerPoint slides, just take you through the things that you need to know to be able to put yourself in the right position to get the opportunity that you're looking for. So I'm going to jump right into the share and get the slides up. Then I'll just go through them. And if you have any questions, you'll have an opportunity to look at a couple of the slides with my contact information on them. Okay. All right. So we're going to get this floating deal out of the way and get the slide deck going here. All right. So here's the information that you're looking for me. You can reach me at johnharris.coaching. And of course, you can always look on our encouragement consulting website. You don't even need the webs on there, encouragementconsulting.com. All right. So let's jump right into this idea of finding a job the right way. A lot of people can tell you about how to find a job. One of the things that I did as a military employment trainer, a transition trainer, was for about 3 or 4 years, walk service members who were leaving the military through the tips, the tools, and the techniques to finding a job outside of their military service. And so I was a part of the Department of Labor. They gave us a program, and I've used some of their information, of course, and some of my own to be able to craft what I'm going to share with you today. So finding a job the right way. So where do we start? Well, we start with what I call the 4 Ps. How do I find a job? How do I find that opportunity that I'm looking for? Well, it starts with preparation. Nothing beats preparation. If you're not prepared, then you're going to lose. And so for all the phases of a job search process, nothing beats preparation. Secondly, planning. And I'll have a quote in here in a moment that you'll see, but you have to plan. You don't just run into this haphazardly or willy-nilly, if you will. You have to have a plan relative to what it is you're trying to do, and you can't go wrong there as well. Also positioning, and that's setting yourself up for the opportunity that you're looking for, and putting yourself in the right position to be able to get the opportunity that you want. And so positioning is key. Again, not just throwing an arrow out in the wind. Even when you're fishing, you have to use different lures to be able to reel that big one in. All right. So if the jig isn't working, you switch to the spinner bait. If the spinner bait isn't working, you catch a rubber worm out there. You just keep trying, and then boom, you catch it, you reel it on in. All right. So positioning. And lastly, positivity. The job search process is fraught with rejection and disappointment. That's right. But for that person who's willing to stay positive, stay optimistic, stay confident in what they know they can do, they will be successful. All right. So that's the difference between success and failure. You see my graphic there: preparation, planning, positioning, and positivity. All right. So where do we begin? It begins, friends, with a self-reflection, a self-assessment and analysis of who I am and where I'm going. So what's the first question? The first question is, who am I now? Now, that was a question also that I asked for our service members. They were transitioning. And so we know you know who you were as a part of your career moving forward, but who are you now? What's going on in your life? What stage of life are you in right now? What things are happening? Do you have more education? Do you have more experience? Who am I now? And also, what do I need? What do I want? And we want to make sure we say need first, because so many people go in with what they want. No, it starts with what you need. You got bills to pay. You got a family. You have different things you want, a different kind of position that you want. So you have to ask yourself first, what do I need? And once you answer that, now we can get to what do I want? What do I want? And so that's a critical question as well. You want to make sure you answer that question honestly and forthright. All right. Next, what do I really love to do? And that's critical, because this may well be a question that they ask you in the job interview process. What's your passion? What gets you up in the morning? Now, what do you love to do? And so if it's helping people, if it's serving people, if it's making a difference, if it's resolving conflicts, if it's answering questions, communicating effectively, all of those things are a part of this critical process of finding a job. And not just finding a job, finding the right job the right way. What do you love to do? And so you want to be keen to what are the things you really care about and the things that you're really passionate about. Uh, what is involved in my life? And again, that goes back to family. That goes back to some people are taking care of their elderly parents and so forth. All kinds of situations. Some people are may have gotten divorced and now they're taking care of their child or children and so forth in a co-parenting situation. So who's involved? And so I'm not just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about the people with whom I'm involved. And so the job that I take, the job that I get, the job that I interview for, I have to consider who else is involved in the process. And so if the job is far away or not where I live right now, I got to think about my kids. I have to get them out of school. I got to move them to another place. If my wife is in a different job, I have to think about her. If we have to relocate, all of those kinds of things are factored in. So you're not just thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how your decision is going to affect others. All right. Also, what must I consider? Well, there's a lot of things to consider and so forth. So not only the position, not only the salary, not only the workplace, but all of the things that help me. How about opportunities for advancement? How about the opportunity to reach your full potential as a person, as a professional, and so forth? Is that going to be available for me in this particular employment? And so you want to begin to think about the other intangibles, if you will, that are critical as a part of this decision-making process. What am I worth and what my value? Oh, this is as critical a question, friend, as you can possibly ask. So that's one of the critical things, because at some point in time, you're going to have to be able to consider the salary, and that salary, whether that salary is appropriate for where you are in your life. Will it pay your bills? Will it pay your mortgage? Will it pay your rent? Will it pay your car payment? Will it be what you believe your time is worth and your value? And so that's one of the critical questions that you must answer. What am I worth? Because at some point in time, they're going to ask you. So so how much money do you want to make? What salary are you expecting? And so that's a critical question that you have to be able to answer. And of course, when you get to the negotiation process after the interview and the job offer, you'll have to answer this question as well. So it's helpful at the outset to have an answer relative to your own worth and value, and having a number or range in mind relative to that value. And then what values will drive my decisions? That's right. What values? This just speaks to the fact that the process of finding the right job may well challenge your character, may well address issues of integrity, may well, again, challenge the fact that you have to consider other people more so than yourself, okay? And so all these other things, what if you value your time? Okay, and this job is going to take you away from your kids. You won't be able to go to as many baseball, softball, basketball games, soccer games. And so will you take a position that's going to have you on the road 50%, 70% of the time, and so forth? Going to take you away from valuable time. You won't be able to go home for dinner at all because of the times in the office. So that means there are values associated with the possibilities of employment. And so these are things that you must consider at the outset, at the very beginning. And so before you even apply for a job, you look at a job posting, before you even talk to anybody, it's critical that you answer these questions and have a real sense of where to begin, okay? Where it all begins. I did mention planning, okay? Preparation planning. Most people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And that's one of the quotes I have in my book called Practical Wisdom. Most people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And so in the job process, it's critical to plan in any number of ways. And so I'll share with you some of those as well. Another quote is, you don't need luck. Be prepared. That's right. You don't need luck. So this isn't about just throwing up a shamrock or a horseshoe or whatever. No, you don't need luck. The key is preparation. And so it's just like taking a test, and someone says, hey, I got to take the bar exam, or I got to take this whatever exam. And somebody says, well, good luck. Well, you know what they mean, be successful. But you don't need luck. Luck is what I need on the golf course. Okay, when I'm trying to hit that little ball, that's what I need luck because I'm not good. Okay, but I need to get out there and prepare. The more I prepare, the more comfortable I'll get. But you don't need luck. You need preparation. So continue to think about all the different ways you can prepare and get yourself ready for the opportunity that you're looking for. So here's the plan. Why do I need a plan? Okay, well, because things change. That's why you need a plan. All right. There are issues of finances involved, and you want to consider all the different areas of finance you might need. There's stresses involved, and again, the preparation reduces the stress. That's right. The preparation reduces the stress, and so you want to make sure you have a plan in that regard. Also, you need a plan because this process can be tedious. It can be tiresome. It can take a lot of your energy, and so you want to make sure you're eating well, that your nutrition level is high, your energy level is high in all phases of the process. You need to think about your family life. And again, I mentioned that earlier, how your family will be affected by the opportunity that you take, if indeed that's an issue. Of course, I've mentioned time. And again, this is a time-consuming process from start to finish. And so you want to make sure that you allocate appropriate time and that you don't worry about managing time, because the simple truth is there is no such thing as time management. All right. Everybody has the same amount of time. The key is what things you give your time to. That's right. So how do you parcel it out in such a way that you find success in the various parts of your day? That's right. So if you're going to spend 2 hours looking on job search boards or an hour revising your resume, again, all of these things are strategic, conscious, and intentional things that you're doing. Okay. You don't just say, well, I think I'll just look at, no. Parcel it out, get a schedule, and then follow that schedule for success. Okay. So these things are critical. Okay. And again, it's a part of an overall plan that you're going to have and you're going to need moving forward to get where you're trying to go. Let me get my little thing in the corner here. All right. Why do I need a plan? Okay. Now, as we move forward, I want to just reference a couple things, personal factors. Now, there are a lot of personal factors involved with the job search process. And so the keys are to assess and evaluate what? Your skill set, your personal, your technical, and what I call your transferable skills. Okay, what you have to offer, that's basically what it is in a nutshell. What do you have to offer the organization or the company that you want to work for? And that's one of the key things you're going to have to often talk about, is that, so while you're thinking about what you want, what's even more important is what they want and how you can provide what they want. Do you have the skill set? Do you have the personality? Do you have the wherewithal to do what it is they're going to be paying you to do? And so look at your skill set and look at it very, very thoroughly. I'm going to bring up this acronym called CLAMS. I'll walk you through it here in a moment on the next slide. What values are associated with not only how you make your decisions, but the workplace, the company that you're going to be working for. How do you know that they are a company of integrity? Where can you go to research the organizations? Because the simple truth is this, friends, you're not just wanting them, or they're not just wanting you, you want them too. So it's a reciprocal relationship. So you both should want one another, and you shouldn't have to compromise your values to be able to get a job. Huh? And so if you feel like you're being compromised, or you have to compromise, particularly integrity, particularly character issues, because the organization might be a little shady. You do your research, you find out there are lots of lawsuits going on, that there have been improprieties in the organization. You might think twice, even though the salary may be what you want, even though all the other things, being equal, work out for you. But the values of the organization are sketchy, and you're leery. And also preferences. Everybody has preferences of one kind or another. Things they want the way they want them. Things they want a certain way. And so as we consider the job process and finding a job the right way, these factors all play a part in the process. And I need you to consider those moving forward. All right. So let's move on to what skills do I have? And so the just two areas of skills that I'm going to reference. The first of those skills are the soft skills. The soft skills. What skills do I have? Soft skills. And the soft skills can be identified as those that are more personal, identified as character traits like being punctual, dependable, a quick learner, a good communicator. And so these are more personal skills. And so as you look at the job posting, and we'll look at that at the end, you have to ask yourself, what soft skills is the employer looking for? And do I have those skills? Okay. And so these soft skills, and there are many more in the soft skills area. Okay. Also, of course, the hard skills. The hard skills are the skills that you learn through education, the skills that you learn through a process of learning. And that's through a formal education, through maybe a second language, technical writing, computer programming, foreign language, like I mentioned, other languages, computer language. How about law? So these are your hard skills. And so as you look through the job posting, you're looking for both the soft skills and the hard skills as a part of the process. And so you want to make sure that you look at those things, you find them, you identify them in the job posting, and then you put them in your various documents. So as you look through the job posting, as we will later, you want to put these things in your resume. You'll want to put these things in your cover letter, and you'll also want these things to be a part of any conversations that you have with the people who are looking to employ you, or the people that you'll be talking to about the job. And so again, always mindful, what soft skills do I have? And of course, what hard skills do I have? So why do I want a job? Why do I want a job? Well, I mentioned the CLAMS acronym there a little bit earlier, and I'm going to spell it out for you here. So one of the reasons why you might want a job, and a particular job in a particular place, is the challenge that it offers. That's right, the challenge that it offers. People don't want to be in a job that's melancholy, a job where you're just doing average stuff every day, where it's just a simple routine. No, you need challenge, you need issues, you need problems, you need things to solve, you need technical stuff that you have to work through. All right. And so you need a job that has a challenge. And of course, as you look through the job posting, as you talk with individuals, you have to be able to ascertain whether there is truly a challenge in this opportunity, a challenge that meets you where you are. That's why it's so critical to know yourself. All right. Also, you're looking for a job relative to that might have a different location or current location. So if the job is right where you are and you're satisfied with that, then by all means, go forward with that opportunity. If the job requires some traveling, you're going to have to ask yourself, how much can I travel? How about relocation? Am I up for relocation? Now, if you're single, that may be no problem. But if you have a family, that might be a bit more problematic. And so location might be an issue. And some people might be saying, hey, listen, I want to get out of where I am right now. And so you look at the various locations that are being offered in a particular job, maybe one of those meets where you want to be. How about the opportunity for advancement? Again, you may come in at an entry level, you may come in at a managerial level, supervisory level, and maybe you want to move to the executive level. So you want to look at the position and begin, as you have conversations with people in the organization, is there the opportunity for advancement? Of course, that may be one of your interview questions as you are thinking about the job. And you're sitting there with the particular people in the HR office, and they say, well, what questions do you have for us? And you ask the simple question, what are the advancement opportunities in this position, in this organization? Is it likely that I can get promoted? How long does that take? And so forth. What are the recognition and rewards associated with them? We'll talk about that in a moment. But advancement, promotion possibilities. Of course, the bottom line for many people is money. That's right, salary. And so as you look to the job posting, many job postings will have salary negotiable, or we'll talk about later, whatever. But as you begin to think about what salary you want and that you're looking for, it's important to know what money you want to make. It's critical. And so if you're in a range from $35,000 to $45,000, or maybe you're in the high end, $150,000 to $200,000, on and on and on, you need to be able to say, listen, as I look through my bills, as I look through the things I want to do in my life, as I have kids in college, on and on and on, this is how much money I have to be able to make. And so if they're offering you less than that, then you have a serious question on your hands. How can I take a job that does not feed my family, does not take care of my needs? Okay. Now, of course, in the interview process, you can ask another question. Okay. And here's a question you can ask. You should write this down. Is there any flexibility in the salary that you've offered? That's right. Is there any flexibility? And that's a way to say, listen, I like the job. I like all that I'm hearing here, but the money is not enough. The money is not enough. And so if there indeed is a flexibility on their part, they have a salary range as well. Now, of course, they don't want to max you out because that doesn't give you the opportunity for advancement. But there is a place. And again, I'll mention some sites, and I'll just mention it at the outset here. Salary.com can give you a sense of what salaries are acceptable or appropriate in a particular job in a particular place in the country. Salary.com or even Glassdoor.com can work you through those salary issues, okay? And of course, there are different cost of living in different places in the country, different places in the world. And so again, the money has to be able to pay for the bills, have to pay for all that's associated with a new place that you're living. Okay, so all these things come into play. And again, money is a critical factor. And lastly, the S is security. Many people want job security. And so you have to ask yourself, if this is a new upstart organization, where's the job security? If it's an organization that's been around for a long time, there may well be some great security, but there also may be a certain status quo. It's been around a long time. They've done things a certain way. And so your new ideas may not jive, if you will, connect with this old settled organization. Now, you'll be secure. You'll be in a job. You'll be there for a long time. The question is, does it fit? Is there an opportunity to have the kind of security that you really, really, really need? Okay, so these factors, clams, they spell the word clams, are things that you have to consider as you're thinking about the job opportunity. All right, hope that helped you. Now we're going to talk a little bit about personal preferences, things that you have to consider as you think about finding the job the right way. Now, and the icon here, the picture says, take it personally, and make it personal, because these are personal things you have to reference. Now, the question is about the job. Is it an indoor or outdoor job? Am I going to be spending most of my time indoors or outdoors? And this is where you have to know yourself again. If you don't want to be locked into an office with no windows or one window, whatever, you want to get outside every now and then, you got to ask yourself, is that opportunity going to be available to me? And so forth. You want to ask that question. Am I going to be dealing with people, data, or other things? So some people, they're people person like me. I love people, want to be around people. I don't know if I can take a job that didn't involve talking with people and being around people. But some people want to deal with data and they don't want to deal with people. And so they want to deal because data doesn't lie to them or doesn't talk back. You know, you don't have much conflict with it. Okay, so they want to deal with that. And then, of course, any other kind of thing that you could possibly be dealing with in the particular job, you know, whether you're dealing with the animals in the zoo or whatever it might be, you know, what other things are involved and that are to your liking. And you got to settle with some understanding in that regard. What size company you want to work for? Big company, medium size company, small company. You know, I work with a number of companies as an advisor, consultant, 40 people, 3,000 people, 900 people. So how many is too many? And so you as you think about reaching your full potential, how many people are you comfortable being around, and so forth. And so you want to think about, do I want a big company, a huge organization, mega corporation? How about an upstart? But how about that medium-sized company where I can have the opportunity to move and do some things in advance as a part of the plans? Travel, how much travel am I willing to engage? Some, a little, a lot. Sometimes, particularly in sales positions, you have to move around, you have to travel. So you got to ask yourself, how much of that? And then again, there's some give and take. So how much will that travel take me away from the things that I need to do relative to my family and so forth? So again, personal considerations. How about in terms of leadership? In terms of the role that I will play? Do I want to be the leader of a team, or do I just want to be a part? Huh? Which satisfies me most? Do I want to be up front as a leader? Now, again, a leader has responsibilities, but a leader is really just as good as the people he or she leads. All right. And so the leader, for all intents and purposes, navigates, leverages strengths, and so forth, puts the people in position to be successful, and he or she gets out of the way and lets the thing go. But if you have to micromanage everybody and so forth, then that's another dynamic that may not be appropriate or necessary in the organization. So what kind of leader are you? Also, and so forth. So these are things you want to consider. Some people are very happy just being a part. And of course, as you think about the job posting and the job description, teamwork will be a critical part of the job posting, of the job you'll be doing. So maybe I just want to be a part of the team. That's okay. But you have to know where you want to be and what you want to do. All right. So these are personal preferences, things you have to consider along the way. Now, one of the things I want to make reference to as you are thinking about your personal preferences is what support you have. All right. And here's just a little exercise that you could do on your own. Just draw a circle on a piece of paper, put some spokes out to the side, and begin to think about as you go through this process. And again, as I mentioned at the outset, there's a lot of time involved. Of course, there's rejection involved. There's disappointment involved periodically. And so you got to ask yourself, what kind of support system do I have? And so around the outside, whether you're in school or out of school, you've been working for a while, think about the people who are partnering with you in this journey. That's right. Who's along for the ride with me? Is it my spouse? Is it my professors? Are the people at work with me because you may be moving from one job to another? Who, parents and so forth, who are a part of my support system? Of course, there are finances involved in job search, in the job search process. Everything from filling out applications and copying resumes to buying new clothes, and so forth. So do I have someone who can help me in that regard as well? There's gas to get to the interviews, maintaining my car, the whole deal. Getting a computer where I can Zoom and I might be working remotely, making sure everything's up to speed. How about money for the internet that I'm going to be using? So all of these things come into play, and it's critical as a part of your overall plan to know who your support people are and to use them as support. Maybe there's a mentor you've had, somebody you interned with that you can talk to, people you can talk to about critical parts of the job search process. And so it's critical not to be out there on your own, just kind of wandering about the job search process, but also able to be able to talk to people through the process, again, to be an encouragement to you, to be a help to you, to be a support to you as you move along, okay? Now, question, what is really important to me in the workplace? This is a critical question. So if you're working with people, you have to ask yourself, what things are important to me in the workplace? And so as I think about this, what kind of people you want to be around? Interesting people. You want to be in a place that has great diversity, all right? How about a place where there are clear rules and expectations? There's a clear sense of what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, and what the end game is. Huh? Is that something that you're looking for? And again, that's another part of the interview process. Who's going to be the person giving me the expectations? Who's going to be the person guiding me in this process? If I'm not the head honcho, then there are people, supervisor, a manager, whomever, giving me instructions. Will those be clear instructions? Will I know? Because if I'm getting chewed out for not doing a job well because I didn't know, I want to be clear about who should have told me what I needed to do and what I needed to know. So if you want that, then again, you need to ask about that. Of course, the atmosphere. Again, if you reference a sales position, sales environment where you're working, you're going to have you're going to have a friendly environment, but you're going to also have a competitive environment because you have a quota to meet. You have responsibilities to meet. There are customers, clients, and stakeholders, and you want to make sure that you are meeting your mark, if you will. And so are you a person who's very competitive? Then that might be just the place for you. Are you because competitive environments may be less friendly environments because people are vying for that top position, vying for the top salesman, the top salesperson, whatever. And so again, you need to ask yourself, is this the kind of place where I can thrive and where I can be? Of course, you want benefits. You want a place where the quality of work is valued, and that you can do good work. I would imagine anybody who wants to do well in their job wants to be able to produce a product that is of value to the organization. So this is a place that values the work and the quality of work that you can provide, the product and services that you can provide. And of course, some people want to know, are there recognition and opportunities again for advancement? How do I gain bonuses? How do I, can I be the employee? Can I get the parking spot? How can you become the employee of the week? And so forth. Now, again, it's not that's all about that. But let me say this: there's nothing like a little appreciation in your job. There's nothing better, and for some people, than knowing that the work they will do definitely has recognition or some reward on the other end. That's right. So they may work harder, they may work smarter, they may work longer if they know that there's some recognition, but also that it's in an environment, an atmosphere, a culture where people can be recognized, where people don't have a problem saying thank you or you're appreciated or valued for what you bring to the table. So if this is that kind of environment and you find that out throughout the process, or you talk to people in the organization, then it may well be the right place for you. All right, right place for you. Now we push forward. How do we find jobs? We're looking for employees, and there's two different areas that I want to focus on here as we're looking for employees. Now, first is how employees look for employers. So you're the employee and you're looking for an opportunity. What do you do to look for those employers? And where can you look for those employers? Where many, they go straight to the employer or go on their website. They apply directly on the website. So 27%. Others with the application and resume process. All right. Others through friends and relatives. That's why networking is such a critical thing. And I should put, friends and relatives. So it's important to hear word of mouth. Say some people like a place where they're working or they heard about opportunities. And so 14%, they find themselves connecting with people who know of opportunities. And so that's where you could possibly get an opportunity. Also, public employment agencies or job postings and so forth. So all of these places are where employees are looking for employers. And so that's you. So whether it's the employer directly, application and resume process, networking with friends and relatives and so forth, those are some of the ways you can do that. But also you need to know that employers are looking for employees. That's right. Employers are always looking. There are headhunters and scouts out there looking for people all the time. I can't tell you how many emails I get from people from ZipRecruiter or LinkedIn or other places saying, hey, listen, I saw your resume online and sending you this opportunity if you're interested. So not only are you looking for them, here it is, friend, they're looking for you. And where do they look? Well, one of the places where they look is on social networks. That's right, LinkedIn. And it's critical for people looking for jobs, particularly professional jobs, to have a LinkedIn page. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But LinkedIn.com is where you can find that. Set up a profile. It's basically your online resumes, different than Facebook, not Facebook, not Craigslist. It's a professional network where people want to connect on a professional level. So if you're looking to do that, then you want to establish a LinkedIn profile. And then, of course, that's kind of your online resume. And people can look at that and they can send you opportunities. There are also job opportunities and postings on LinkedIn as well, okay? Of course, there are various job boards out there and so forth, and I'll share some of those with you. But you can look on those job boards and look through them strategically, not just haphazardly. Don't just spend time just scrolling down. No, put in the word that references the job that you want, or the industry that you want, or the area that you want. So if it's media, if it's computer technology, if it's healthcare, then be specific about what you're looking for. All right. You're throwing an arrow just in the wind, it's going to go in another direction. No, you want to shoot that arrow right for the target and hit the bullseye. And that's the opportunity that you're looking for. And of course, friends and relatives, people, again, back to the networking part of it again. Back to the networking part of it again. And let me say it again, networking is critical. Word of mouth, friends know friends employers. So all of this is critical. Relationships in the job search process are critical. So make sure you're talking with people, you're listening to people. Again, and as some people refer you to a particular employee, then you have to approach that situation with great integrity, because that person's reputation is on the line because they referred you. And so you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, that you're prepared, that you're planning, that you have that you have everything in place, that you're positive, and so forth. All those things are what you need to be doing moving forward. All right. And that positions you to be right where you need to be. Now let's press forward here. Now, one of the things, there's 6 things I'm going to share with you about things you need to be able to move through this process effectively. Now, these are just 3 of them. As I am speaking to you right now off my laptop, got this laptop maybe a couple of months ago. I needed more speed. I needed more video quality and so forth. So your computer is critical. My hope is that over the course of this time when I'm speaking to you, that there'll be no glitches, there'll be no internet failures and so forth. So you need a computer that will do, particularly in the times where we're in right now, where people are working virtually or working remote from home. People are using their computers. They are a critical part of the process. And so you want to make sure you have a good working computer, whether it's a desktop, as the one I'm having here, a laptop. If you have a tablet, even you want to make sure that those things are working and working at their optimum efficiency. Also, you want to have a printer, because you're going to be printing out resumes. I have all kinds of printers around this house, and you want to have a good printer. You want to make sure whether you have laser or inkjet, make sure you have enough ink in the thing. Make sure that it is just what you need to be able to produce the quality product that you're going to need. Now, people say, well, John, people aren't giving out paper resumes anymore. Well, au contraire. People, at some point in time, there's going to be a paper resume in someone's hand. Now, again, that helps you not just print out resumes, but also job opportunities, because you're going to have to print out the job posting and look through it to be able to dissect it in a way that helps you to see what they're really looking for. And of course, you want an email address. I use Gmail. I used to use Yahoo and so forth. So you want an email address. Don't make it too fancy. Don't make it with some kind of nickname in it. Make it really simple for people to be able to type in when they need to. And so fine, you can use Gmail, you can use Yahoo. If you have a provider that gives you a link, an email account, then make sure you use it. But that's where you're going to be able to get most of the information from the employer about your application and so forth. And so you want to make sure that your email is up and running and that you are paying attention to it regularly. 3 more tools that you need. Of course, phone. A lot of people don't have landlines anymore. They have their cell phone. So you want to make sure your cell phone, I'll show you mine right here. This is the new iPhone 12 Pro. I guess I'm not in, there you go, 12 Pro Max or whatever. Listen, all you need is a cell phone that's going to answer calls, and you can check email. But your phone in many ways becomes like a computer for you. And so you do everything on this phone. And so you can Zoom on, say you're not home and you have to have an interview. You can do a Zoom right on your phone. All right. So all those things are critical. Make sure your phone's up to speed. Make sure the bill is paid, and make sure that you have the capability of having your right number in the hands of the people who need it most. Of course, you want to have reliable transportation. Now, of course, you see the image of a car. If you don't have a car, you want to make sure that you're able to get to the interviews, that you're able to get to the places where you need to be. So make sure that your car is ready, it's up to speed, the oil is changed, the gas is in the car, and that you don't have to come out the next day and your battery's dead. Make sure everything's in place. That's a part of the planning process. That's right. That's a part of the planning process and the preparation process, that you think ahead, that you are proactive and not reactive, and that you have the things in place beforehand so you don't have to scurry around at the last minute to try to get yourself ready to go. And lastly, clothing. Now, again, so much of what's happening nowadays is virtual, but it's possible at some point in time, you're going to have to meet somebody face to face, and you might have to invest in some different clothing. Okay, so for men, it's more of a dark suit, dark black, a black or blue, maybe charcoal, or for women, pants, a nice skirt, pants, dress, whatever, and so forth. But you want to make sure it's of a basic color, not too many flowers. I wear bow ties most oftentimes, But the key in an interview is make sure they focus on what you know, not on you as necessarily as a person. That's important. But the critical part of the interview process is being able to help them understand what you can do for their company. I'll give you a case in point. I wore a bow tie to an interview one time, and all they could talk about was the bow tie, the bow tie. And so I want them focused on what I'm able to do, not just what I look like. All right. And so these are the tools, and I'm going to go back a slide just so you can see: computer, printer, email, of course, and then of course phone, tablet, whatever, and make sure they have the right number. Your transportation is up to par. If you're taking a bus, if you're having somebody else drive you, make sure that you tell them in advance so they can be there on time, and that you can be where you need to be early, not just on time, but early, to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. And then of course, clothing, make sure that everything's pressed out beforehand and ready to go. Okay. Now, as we get to the home stretch, I just want to give you just a few places where you can look for opportunities. And again, you can go online and check some of these places out. Again, there's my image, looking for that right opportunity. So the first one of the best and first places I want to share with you is Indeed.com. This is the place where I spend a lot of time helping people look for job opportunities. Indeed.com is a great place. You can actually put your resume on file there, and people can find you on Indeed.com. So definitely you want to look there. Glassdoor is a great place, not only for job opportunities, but for salary information as well. Monster.com, flex jobs for those remote jobs that you're looking for. A ladder for managerial jobs, ladders. LinkedIn, as I've already mentioned, you want to make sure you get your professional network set up, and then you can also look for opportunities that are either full-time, part-time, or contract jobs. That means that you have maybe a 3-month, 6-month position with an organization. Link Up, Scouted.com, and Snag a Job. This is more for hourly type jobs if you're looking for an hourly situation. Of course, and if you're looking for salary information, salary.com along with glassdoor.com helps you to know what salary is being offered in the range for the job that you're looking for. And so as you begin to think about what you can say when they ask you, so what kind of salary you're looking for, you want to be somewhere not at the beginning and not at the end, but somewhere in the middle, but also a place that really meets your needs. And so give them a real number, and that number should have a little flexibility, not down, but up toward the higher end. All right. So where to look? These are the places where you can look. I want to just take you briefly through something I think is critical. This is a job posting, and as you're looking, even before you talk to anybody, you have to be able to look and be able to decipher what they are actually saying to you. That's right. So you go to a job posting, you see it here. This is one for customer advocate, customer service advocate. A lot of different things that you can read through here about what the job offers and what's entailed. And you got to remember, they're looking for soft skills and they're looking for hard skills. And so you have to ask yourself, and they're looking for those things that you can do. And so as you look at the job posting, you got your pen in hand, your highlighter, and so forth, and you're going through this. And I want to just show you how this looks if indeed you were able to go through it and look for those things. So now we have one that's just totally clean. All right. And so as we now begin to dissect it, what things are we looking for? Now take a look at this one. I have some things that I've circled. Well, we see here, they're looking for exceptional customer service. All right. So as you think about the cover letter, as you think about your resume, as you think about your conversations with people, then of course you want to be able to give them back what they have given you in the job posting. It says a high level of customer satisfaction. So we know now that we're looking again, and before that it says world class. So we want to make sure that the excellence is what they're looking for at a very, very high level. You see in the middle of the page, fourth line, communicate. So obviously we know that communication is a critical part of this process. So we want to make sure that we reference our communication skills there as well. Also open, helpful, and engaging tone. So now we're talking about how we talk to people and so forth. So we want to be mindful of that as well. As we get down into the second paragraph, we're talking about phone abilities, chat abilities, and so forth. And so email, Twitter, Facebook, being organized, triage means solving problems, all right? Managing outages and communicating. So back to managing that capability. Down here at the lower level, working with various teams. Again, back to teamwork. Okay, how well do I work not only independently, but how do I work with people? Down here toward the bottom, resolving customer support concerns. Again, decision-making, conflict resolution, and serving as an ambassador for our brand. All right, so that's public relations, representing the organization in a certain way. So as you look through all of these things, as you circle these things, you're now referencing all the things, many of the things, most of the things that they are looking for along the way. And there's some things I didn't circle. So this is how you go through a job posting. And again, as you identify these particular component parts, now you're ready to begin to craft your resume. You're beginning to craft your cover letter. You're ready to talk to your references about the things that the job entails, so they'll know how to communicate with the employer when they call. So all of these things come together to help not only you, but everybody associated with the process. So now, and then of course, sometimes you even want to send them, not sometimes, you want to send them this posting with the things that you have circled. So they now know what things are important to you in the process. So I'm going to show you again. This is the blank one. And then as you work through it, you begin to colorize it, if you will, with the things that are important. All right. So now you need to know how to do that. And at the very bottom, it says you are available to work a flexible work week, which includes some weekend coverage. So again, that goes back to time. If you're not a person who wants to work on the weekend, then this is not a job that you would take. So you have to be willing and ready to say, you know what, that's not one of my personal preferences. I'm going to pass on this one. One of the things you need as a part of a personal introduction is what we call an elevator speech. A short 30-second way of sharing your message reflects the facts, kind of an elevator, just something short and sweet. So when someone asks you a question, so tell me a little bit about yourself. You don't need the Gettysburg Address or the preamble to the Constitution, and you don't need all that. You just need something short and sweet that tells them what they need to know and gets the ball running. Let me just give you a quick example. So for me, one of the things I would be able to say, as I move this little thing around here. Hello, I'm John Leonard Harris. I'm a native of St. Louis, Missouri, but I have been living in Lincoln for over 20 years. I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Missouri in radio, TV, film production, a master's degree from the University of Nebraska in education. I'm currently self-employed as a consultant, facilitator, and a subject matter expert in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I've been providing virtual workshops for companies locally and across the country. And I'm looking for an opportunity in the media industry as either an on-air talent or media sales. And I've been a color analyst for football and basketball at the college level and baseball at the high school level. So that's my little story. That's my elevator speech. So not only am I telling them a little bit about myself, my education, but I also say at the end what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an opportunity in the media industry as either an on-air talent or media sales. And so now they know. And so this is a short and sweet little deal, 30-second or so, that tells them about me in short order. Now it gives them a sense of how they want to proceed from there. So everyone needs an elevator speech. So as you think about your own, introduce yourself. Okay, don't worry about any nicknames. You don't even have to say, necessarily where you came from, but where you live now. But also, if you have any degrees, if you have any time in a particular area, make sure that you reference that. So everyone, you should be working as a part of your preparation and planning and positioning on your own personal elevator speech. Okay. Now, one of the things you can do as you think as we get deeper into the process is people are going to want to know what you can do, what you're capable of. And so what you want to use is what we call the STAR method. The STAR method. And I'm just going to bring it up here. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. Situation, task, action, result. So a specific circumstance that you were in, the objectives of that circumstance, what you did there, what actions that you completed, and then what was the result. So the situation, the tasks that you actually employed, the actions that were necessary to do it, the tasks that you were given rather, the actions to meet that task, and the end game. What were the results of that. So let me walk you through it with information. So if somebody asks, so John, tell me about something you actually accomplished in a job. So I would go through the star here. So my department received a new portable generators that had to be installed, operated, and maintained after my company lost power. And I was tasked with ensuring that my team members were able to install, operate, and follow the maintenance procedures for the new generators. I designed and conducted training for team members, 16 people, to properly install, operate, and maintain the new generators. And these team members received 95% pass rate on their first proficiency test and over 100% satisfaction from the corporate managers. And so this is, again, a short and simple way to answer a question using the STAR method, where you can talk about what the situation was, what responsibility you had during the task, what you actually did, and then what result there was. And then if you can include any numbers in that process, all the better for you. So anytime you're asked a question, a very short answer using the STAR method will be definitely advantageous to you. And if you want these PowerPoint slides, I'll have my email at the end where you can ask for that. Now, as we get to the end, there's some things here that you must have. Some must-have things. Let me get this over to the side here. Some must-have. So what's the first thing? A total confidence in yourself and what you can do for the company and the organization. That's true. You got to believe that you can do what it is they need you to do, but you have to be able to ascertain along the way what they need. And so if you're looking through the posting and you see something that does not connect with your skill set, then you pass that along until you get to a place where you're able to say, this posting and these skills, hard skills, soft skills, are exactly what I have. And so you move forward with that. So your confidence comes from being able to connect with what it is they need you to do. All right. And of course, the skill set that you have. You also need the ability to dissect the job posting, as I showed you there earlier. You need the time to do your research. So you need to research the company. You need to find out what it is that they're all about. There is I'll have to make reference to the site, Dun & Bradstreet, D&B. I think it's dnb.com, Dun & Bradstreet, where you can get a prospectus and a research for all the companies. So you can find out their financial statements. You can find out who their chairman of the boards are. You can find out all these things. So do your research. Find out what their mission, their vision, their values are. And that way you will know. So when they ask you questions, so what do you know about us? Well, I know your mission is this. I know your vision is this. I know your values are these, and so forth. So do your research and make sure that you have those things in your memory bank. Also, an understanding of your value. I mentioned in this earlier, your own value and worth to the industry. So you want to be mindful that, particularly if you have certain skills, a certain experience in the industry, certain skills that make you really marketable. That's a critical word, marketable. Then you want to make sure that you do not devalue yourself in the process. You want an excellent resume. Now, you have three kinds of resumes that you can produce. The chronological is a time-sensitive resume that speaks to your most recent job and then going back up to 15 years, 10 to 15 years. Okay, 15 might be a lot, but 10 to 15 years tops. All right, you don't want to go much farther than that. Chronological, so this is my current job, and these are the responsibilities I've had in those jobs that match the job posting. That's what's critical. Your job, your resume should reflect what's in the job posting. And you can do a different resume for each job you apply for. But this is a time-sensitive resume. A functional resume is a skill-based resume. So instead of referencing just time, particularly if you've been from job to job, you want to reference skills. So so your resume can be broken up and what's critical about a resume, since they don't have a whole lot of time to look at it, is what you put on there first. So if I'm only going to be looking at it from 90 seconds to 2 minutes, I'm going to be scanning it for the things that connect in the job posting, the things that connect with the job that we want you to do. And so you want to make sure they see those things when they look at your resume. And so a functional resume is a skill-based resume. So we saw in the job posting that I referenced, communication skills, customer service skills, public relations skills, phone skills, social media skills. And so those are the skills that I would put in categories on my resume, and then responsibilities under each of those categories to reference what they want in the job. So again, chronological is time-based, the functional is skill-based. And then you can do a combination, which has either time at the top and skills at the bottom, or skills at the top and time at the bottom, depending on what you believe they think that is important to them. And then you can add your education and any other kinds of things that you think might be pertinent. You don't want to put your references on your resume, just a note that says references are available upon request. You don't want to send anybody a resume and or a cover letter, which is the next thing I'm going to reference, without contacting your references first. And how many references do you need? Well, I would say 6 preferably. They're only going to ask for 3 most often, but you want 3 people who are professional references, and you want 3 people who are personal references. And they can overlap, but you want to make sure they know what role they're playing. So if you talk to somebody and say, listen, I need you as a professional reference, you might use them the next time as a personal reference, depending on the job. And so this is, again, all strategic. This is all preparation. This is all planning. This is all positioning. Everything you do on purpose. That's right. Everything you do on purpose, and you do with a purpose. That's right. And then you also need to have a salary range in mind, not just a number, but a range in mind. And lastly, you have to have the willingness to say no. That's right. There's a difference between a person who's interested in a job and a person who's desperate for a job. That's right. There's a difference. And so if it's not to your liking, if you get through the whole process and they still have not offered you the money that you need to take the job, or the position you're looking for, or the location you're looking for, you have to be able to walk away, if indeed that's the case. Now, if you have to take it, you have to take it. But if you're in a position where you can say, you know what, thanks, but no thanks, then you can move on to find the right job for you the right way. All right. And so these are critical things that you must be able to have in place to be able to find the job you want the right way. All right. Confidence in yourself, dissecting the job posting, doing your research, mission, vision, values, making sure that you understand your own value, making sure that you know what resume you're going to use, for each specific opportunity. You say, well, John, why can't I use the same resume for all? Because each job is different. Each job posting is different. Each of the skills that they require are different. Now, if you find some that are the same in the same industry, you might be able to get away with that. But you want to make sure you tailor your resume for the opportunity. You want a really good cover letter, a very short cover letter that speaks specifically to everything in the job posting. Matter of fact, you can put the words back from the job posting in your cover letter. Again, your first thing in your cover letter is you talk about them. That's right. Well, you talk about the job. Hey, I'm sending you this cover letter along with my application for the certain position that I'm applying for. First line. Second paragraph is about the company. I understand that you are a leader in the industry, or that you make widgets or whatever you make. You've done it for 20 years, and you've been excellent in this industry for many, many years. First paragraph is about them. Next paragraph is about you. I believe that my skill set in this particular area and my skills, hard or soft, can help you to advance and to meet your goals as a sales organization or technology organization. So now you talk about yourself. So first line is the position. First paragraph is about the company. Second paragraph is about you. And then lastly, you ask for an opportunity. I appreciate an opportunity for you to look over my resume thoroughly and my qualifications. And at your earliest convenience, I would appreciate the opportunity to talk with you about the job. Thank you, and sign your name. That's it, and you're on your way. And so if you want an example of those items, again, hit me up on my email, which you'll see at the end. All right. So we are there. So if you have any thoughts about what I've said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, johnharris.coaching@gmail.com. johnharris.coaching@gmail.com. I'm going to stop the share here. Get back to the main screen. All of these things are critical in this process. They are vital to find the right job the right way. And so there's so much more that I could have talked about, but I just wanted to give you a kind of a cursory overview of finding the right job the right way. And I trust that it has been helpful for you. So again, if you have any questions, just reach out to me, johnharris.coaching@gmail.com. Also, you can check out our website, encouragementconsulting.com, for more information or the opportunity to talk with you further. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege. This is John Leonard Harris with Encouragement Consulting Services, thanking you for being with me. Take care.